Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up and install Retroarch on your PC in 2026. Retroarch is a multi-platform emulator that allows you to play a bunch of old consoles and games directly on your computer. I'm going to be showing you how to set up some basic things. So the first thing you want to do is open up any web browser, and we're going to be coming to the Retroarch page, which is retroarch.com. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below. We're going to be coming directly to the download page here, and we're going to be downloading the latest version. At the time of recording, it's 1.22.1. We're going to be downloading the latest stable version. It should automatically detect your operating system, but if you are having issues, you can feel free to come down here and select the specific version that you want to do. As we can see here, Retroarch is supported on a bunch of different platforms. Once Retroarch is downloaded, we're going to be looking for our .exe file to install Retroarch. I have it right here. We're going to be double clicking this application. Windows is going to be giving the user account control pop-up. We're going to be clicking yes on that pop-up to continue. And then we're going to have our Retroarch install wizard. We're going to be clicking next on this first pop-up. We need to agree to the license. Simply click I agree. We can then select an install folder. I'm going to be leaving it on my C drive, but feel free to browse and select wherever you want with this browse button right here. Click next. You can also install DirectX 9. At the moment, I'm going to be leaving it unchecked. Simply click next. You then have an option to create a shortcut. I am going to be creating one, but if you don't want to create one, simply click this do not create shortcut option here, and then we click install. Now this can take a couple seconds for Retroarch to install. Once this is complete, we simply click finish on this last pop-up, and then Retroarch is installed. From this point, we can open up Retroarch using the shortcut we previously created, or you can click on the search key right here. We're going to be searching for Retroarch, which should open up this application right here. And now we're going to be clicking to open up Retroarch for the first time. Now, when you open up Retroarch, this is the UI you will be greeted with. To put this in a full screen mode, we can simply click the F key on our keyboard. And of course, you can click the F button again to get out of this, so you can easily switch between the version that you want. I'm going to be putting Retroarch back in full screen, and then we're going to be walking through a couple of things with this. So the first thing I want to mention is this UI is really built for a controller. So at this point, you can feel free to plug in any controller, and most controllers will work out of the box. And the most popular controllers, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series, PS4, PS3, and even PS5 controllers will work directly out of the box and will work in this UI. So from this point, I'm actually going to be using my controller to move around and interact with this UI. So from this point, the first thing I'm going to be doing is installing some emulators or some cores in Retroarch. To this, we're going to be coming to the main menu. We're going to be coming to the load core option here. And by default, you will have no cores inside Retroarch on your first installation. What we're going to be doing is coming down to the download a core option. And here we will see a list of all the supported games, consoles, and different console emulators that are available in Retroarch. This is an overwhelming list, so for today's video, I'm going to be focusing on two different cores. I'm going to be focusing on a Game Boy Advance and an SNES core. We can click the Y button on our Xbox controller to search, and here you can search for a specific core. So I'm just going to be typing in SNES. Click the start button, and then we will see all of our SNES available cores. So there are a couple available here. I'm just going to be installing the first one here, Beetle Superfast, but of course you can install whichever one you want. Simply click the A button. It will tell us our core is successfully installed. And when I search for Advanced, I can see a couple of my GBA cores. For today's video, I'm going to be using MGBA. Now with this guide, I showed two cores, the GBA and the SNES. But depending on the core that you're using, you may need additional files, or in this case, BIOS files, that are system files for that specific console to be able to run it on Retroarch. But for example, PlayStation 2 will require BIOS files in a specific format in the Retroarch file system. I do plan to make dedicated video guides for each of these specific consoles a little bit later. However, I did want to already give this information here. I'll leave this link in the description down below. This is specifically for the Beetle PSX core. However, you can see here it also has links to the other documentation. However, here on the left, we can navigate to each console we specifically want to set up and see if there's a BIOS file required. So for example, PS2 also requires one. Here we can see the different information about it and the setup that is required. I'll be leaving this linked in the description down below. So this is the Retroarch documentation. And if you have any questions around this, let me know in the comments below. I will try my best to help, but I will not be sharing any download links to BIOS files. So from this point now, I have two cores available. Instead of going here, what I'm actually going to be doing now is creating a playlist. And playlists are a great way of managing your games in Retroarch. So to create a playlist, we actually need to come down to the import content option, click the A button on this. We're then going to be scanning a directory, and here you're going to have to locate to where your games are installed. So I've located to where my games are installed. I've just made this test directory to show as an example. Once you've come to the directory where your games are, we can simply click scan this directory. And inside here, I actually have two different folders, one for my Game Boy games and one for my SNES games. I can scan this directory and it should scan both of these locations. We can then back all the way out to our main menu by clicking the B button, and here on the bottom left we should see that there's two different options added here, one for Game Boy Advance and one for SNES. These are now our playlists, which basically concatenate and group all of our games together. So we have all of our GBA games here and all of our SNES games here, and it should automatically scan this directory. So from this point I'm going to be loading up a GBA game just as an example. I'm going to be using Advance Wars here. I'm going to be clicking the A button. I'm then going to be clicking Run. The next step here will be to select which core you would like to use for your console. If you have multiple, there will be multiple showing up here. I currently only have one GBA core installed, so it's only going to show one. Simply click the A button again to select this core, and now our core is selected for our game. From this point, we'll be brought back out to the main menu. This core is now associated with this game, so I can click Run from this point, and now my game is going to start running. Now if you want to open up your Retroarch menu, there's two ways of doing it. You can click by default, start and select on your controller, which will open up this quick menu. However, you can also click the F1 button on your keyboard, and that will also open up this quick action menu where you have some options to control your game. We can resume, we can restart, we can close our game to go back outside. You can create and access your save states. If you're having a difficult time with a game, you can create a quick save that you can then load back up again so you don't have to restart a good level. For some older games, this is a nice option, so it's a good thing to keep in mind. We have our core options, which I will not be jumping into too much in today's video. For some cores and some emulators, this is really useful. We can look at and edit controls for your controllers or your keyboard and mouse if that's what you're using. But by default, your Xbox or PlayStation controller should work out of the box. But here you can feel free to adapt and edit any other controllers that you want. Coming down a bit further, we have a couple of other things I do want to mention. The first is cheats. And this is a cool option if you're playing some older games, especially Pokemon games. You can give yourself unlimited items or a couple of things like that. So you can use cheats here. I do plan to do this more in a dedicated video. Some people also really like to install shaders, which can basically affect how your video content looks. Oftentimes when looking at older games on newer screens that are not CRT. So here you can set up a shader. For GBA it's not too much of an issue, but for older games it is. I'm going to be turning it off for now, but just to mention that it's here. And then the final thing I want to mention is the on-screen overlay. Clicking in here we can set up and enable an overlay that can be put on top of our games, specifically to hide the borders. And you can even upload and create your own custom ones if that's something that you want to do. So you can select the preset that you want by coming down to overlay presets. And here we will have a lot of default ones directly inside Retroarch, which is quite cool. And here I can, for example, set up an overlay of the buttons that I'm pressing. You can see that if I press L and R, they actually show up on top, or the A and the B buttons actually highlight as I press. From this point, we're going to be loading up our menu again, and we're going to be clicking Close Content. And now Retroarch is going to come back to its main menu. The next thing we're going to be looking at is actually the user interface in Retroarch. By default, you have this UI that we showed in the start of the video, but it is possible to change it to other UIs, and some people like setting up the PlayStation 3 type UI, the XMB setup. To do this, we're going to be going down to the settings, we're going to be coming to user interface, we're going to be going all the way down to the bottom, or you can simply click the up button, and we're going to be looking for the menu option right here. By default, we have the Ozone UI, which is the default inside Retroarch. Some people prefer the XMB UI. What we can do is select that, and then we're going to have to restart Retroarch, so we're going to have to close it down. Again, click the F key to come out of the full screen mode. We're going to be closing down Retroarch, and then you can simply reopen it like we showed earlier in the video. And now when loading up Retroarch, we will be brought to this UI. Again, F to load it into full screen. And now we have a bit more of a traditional PlayStation 3 type interface. Some people prefer this. I actually prefer the default UI in Retroarch. I find that the menu navigation on the left, giving me more overview, is nice. However, I do think that this is also a nice UI to have. And the last thing I want to mention is actually updating the visuals or the thumbnails for your games. To do this, we're going to be coming all the way over to the menu option on the very left. We're going to be coming to the online updater. We're going to be looking for the playlist thumbnails updater. Click this. And then we're going to be selecting the playlist that you want to download thumbnails for. I'm going to be using GBA as an example here. You'll see on the bottom left, it's going to download the artwork. And of course you can select your multiple UIs as well. So I'll just do both while I'm here. And now if I go back over to my playlist that I have before, so we can see that we see the thumbnails for the games on the right. And this works for both the SNES and the GBA, and it will work for any other games that you want. It's also possible to update custom artwork here. I'm not going to be showing you too much today, but there's a lot of options and customization inside Retroarch. The last quick thing I will show, and then I will end the video, is the configuration file. And this is something that you might want to do somewhat regularly, or if you're going to be moving Retroarch around, is the configuration file. This will basically let you make a backup of your Retroarch installation, and it will allow you to move it to another PC. So if you ever reinstall Retroarch or you want to make a backup of your Retroarch, we can come to configuration file, save a new configuration, which will create a new configuration for Retroarch, and then we can load that configuration at any point. This will take all of your options and all your visual setup in Retroarch and allow you to keep it if you're experimenting or if you want to have different versions for different things. I do plan to make more videos with Retroarch in the future showing you how to set up detailed consoles and different emulators. If there's anything specific you'd like to see, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, as always, keep it saucy. Peace.